I felt like I made the worst decision of my life because of the way that business coach made me feel. Sometimes things don't make sense financially. Sometimes things don't make sense at all, but in your gut and instinctually, you know it's your next step. And that's how I felt about signing the lease on this new space. Hello and welcome to the Elevate podcast. I'm your host, Patricia Nowakowski. I'm a salon owner, educator, mindset, and leadership coach that helps salon owners go from overwhelmed and burnt out to motivated and empowered. It is my mission to help you systemize your business, generate more profit, and create a career that you love. Join us every week to learn about the small shifts you can make to elevate your business regarding mindset, marketing, social media, business systems, and so much more. Welcome to this week's episode of the Elevate podcast. In today's episode, we will discuss why it's important not to listen to people who do not see your vision. And when we do this, how it can stunt your growth for your business and personal growth. I know we've all been there. Have you ever shared a goal or an idea with somebody only to be met with negativity or criticism? When this happens, it can be so disheartening and it can make you second guess yourself and second guess your next move. I think what's really important is to recognize that not everyone will see your vision, and that's okay. Each individual person is going to have an idea of what works for them and what doesn't, based on their own personal experience and their own personal goals and idea of what growth really is. So what's not okay is letting others' opinions hold you back from pursuing your dreams and your goals. And today we'll explore why it's important to ignore the naysayers and focus just on your vision. So when we think about sharing our vision with others, we have to keep in mind that people will not understand your goals or your vision for a few reasons. One, they will let their fears interfere with the bigger picture. And just because something that we see and we want to accomplish may not seem super scary to us, which is what gives us the motivation and drive to push forward with actually expanding and creating this thing that we have so clear in our minds. A lot of people won't have that same imagination. So a lot of people have different backgrounds, experiences, and of course, different perspectives, especially when it comes to sharing visions for people who are close with us, because sometimes they can even feel fear for us. What may seem really clear to you may not seem clear and may not make sense to somebody else. But that doesn't mean that you should abandon your goals and ideas. And it's important for you to trust yourself and your instincts. I want to share a story of something that had personally happened to me when I was expanding my business. I came across an opportunity to expand in my building when a space in the building opened up that was perfect to create a little educational space or a salon suite. I remember one of my beauty reps came in and she brought in somebody who was working for a big coaching company inside of our industry, and I'm not going to say names. I was talking to these two people and I decided to show them this new space that I had just signed a lease on. And I was so very excited about. I walked them over because it's a few storefronts down, and it was my very first salon suite that I opened. If you don't know, I own 9 salon suites that I rent out to independent stylists. And how I started my salon suite journey is the building that my salon is located in is a medical building. So inside of the building are a ton of small 500 square feet spaces. And because I had created a great relationship with my landlord, He was very generous to give me amazing deals on the spaces that I rented. Not to mention that when I took on these spaces, they were a gross lease, which is an anomaly when it comes to commercial spaces and renting commercial spaces. Most of the time, they are gross leases. But moving forward. So I signed the lease on my very first salon suite. It was such a cute little space. We hadn't redone it yet. And I shared it with my rep, who I had a pretty good relationship with, and this business coach she brought in to introduce me to because they wanted me to sign up for this specific coaching program. Wondering how I keep my business systemized? It's all thanks to Kajabi. Kajabi is a versatile platform that allows me to keep everything in one place, like my website, courses, forms, email marketing, my podcast, and so much more. It's easily mine and my team's favorite software for salon owners. To try Kajabi for yourself for 30 days, visit the link in the show notes. When I showed them the space, the business coach made me feel like I made the worst decision of my life. She's like, this doesn't make sense. Did you run the numbers on this? Can you get out of your lease? I just don't think this is a good idea. You really didn't do your research when it came to looking at this financially. I immediately felt inferior, I felt scared, and I felt like I made the worst decision of my life because of the way that business coach made me feel. Sometimes things don't make sense financially. Sometimes things don't make sense at all, but in your gut and instinctually, you know it's your next step. And that's how I felt about signing the lease on this new space. I immediately was taken aback because this was unsolicited advice from this person. And it immediately made me second guess my next move for business growth. I did not try to get out of the lease. I moved forward with my decision to expand my business. And this very first salon suite is what evolved into renting 9 spaces in my building, which ended up generating over 6 figures of gross revenue in this very first year of opening my salon suites. I will also add that these salon suites are what have kept my business afloat during times of lack of revenue in my salon from stylists leaving or during slow times, especially during COVID. So you have to remember that many successful people face criticism and doubt themselves before achieving goals. And there are so many famous people that really set the example for this. And it's hard to sometimes relate to big name people when they talk about their quote unquote failures inside of creating their business. So for me, this was something that was so scary. I, again, was told I was going to fail. I was told that I made one of the worst decisions of my career, that this was going to set my salon back, when in reality, I just kept pushing forward. I blocked out the noise because I knew this person didn't see my vision, and I moved forward with exactly what I had created or thought about creating for myself. So I just want to give some examples of some big names. So Walt Disney, for example, was fired from a job because he lacked imagination. Can you imagine that? If he would have let that stunt his growth, or if he would have held back because he listened to somebody else, Disney World would have never been created. Oprah Winfrey was demoted from her first job as a news anchor because she was unfit for TV. If these people would have listened to the naysayers, they wouldn't have the amazing companies and these big corporations that they have created. So when we listen to people who don't see our vision, it can lead to self-doubt, and it can bring us to a place where we lack confidence. And you may start to question whether or not your vision is worthy of pursuing. And this can lead to missed opportunities. And most importantly, it can definitely lead to regret. And that's something that you don't want to look back 10 years from now, look back and say, man, I really regret not doing this one thing because of what people said it was going to turn out like. It's important to have confidence in yourself and in your vision, even when you face negativity. And again, I'm also going to add that if there isn't a negative response to the things that you're creating, then you're doing it wrong. There's always going to be people out there who do not see your vision, and that's great because that means your vision is authentic to you and it's original. So another reason to ignore naysayers is that it can stunt your growth. When you only listen to the people who agree with you or think like you limit your perspective. It's important to have a broad range of feedback, but you shouldn't let that hold you back. And when you pursue a vision that others don't understand, it can lead to innovation and creativity. When you're not limited by other people's beliefs, you can explore new possibilities, and most importantly, you can take risks, and risks are where the growth happens. And this can lead to new ideas and breakthroughs. So it's important not to listen to people who don't see your vision. Those who don't understand your goals or ideas should not hold you back from pursuing your vision. And you shouldn't let negativity and criticism stifle your growth and creativity. Always trust your instinct and always have confidence in yourself, even when people don't have confidence in you. Deep down, your instinct and your soul will know the right move, and you have to sometimes listen to things that your intuition is pushing you towards. So trust your instinct, have confidence in yourself, and pursue your vision. And thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Elevate Podcast. I hope today has inspired you to take the risks that you've been thinking about, to push forward, to expand your business mindset, and to expand your consciousness. Thanks for tuning into the Elevate Podcast. If you loved this episode, it would mean the world to me if you could leave a review on Apple Podcast or wherever you listen. The Elevate Podcast is hosted by me, Patricia Nowakowski, and produced by Opulent Beauty Pro. To receive my free business guides, visit opulentbeautypro.com/free or click the link in the show notes. You can find me on Instagram at opulentbeautypro or at Patricia_Nowakowski_OBS. If you love this show, please consider subscribing. See you next week.